Hello, and welcome to the HP Podcast, episode number 278. I'm Ben, and with me here today are two of the most beautiful boys you've ever known. And Hulk Hogan is already in the chat, just running wild out here. Dave, let's start with you. Dave, Raptors secret undercover Drake fan. How are you doing?
I'm good. I had a feeling when I pulled this shirt on that something was going to be said about Drake in the in the show today. And as you know, I'm the last person who wants to discuss this topic.
They're basically synonymous, though. Like, you had to have known. Well, you did say you knew, so.
It's a dope shirt, though.
They're not, though. So, like, I became a Raptors fan long before Drake was even, like he was still on Degrassi. Like, I was a fan in, like, the Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady days. And
so you're saying he was already famous, so it was because of Drake. That's how I heard.
No. I'm going to get rid of this shirt.
It is a cool shirt. It's supposed to be a raptor claw, right? Like,
yeah, it's like the Raptors logo, but it has
basketball.
like the Hawaiian floral print in it. I don't know.
Mhm.
It might be a pride thing, but whatever. It's a good shirt.
Yeah.
That's dope.
it is pretty cool. Brandon.
The polar opposite is the light fades away T-shirt that Brandon's wearing.
Yeah. I was just gonna say something very similar. Brandon is also with us tonight. How you doing, brother?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. Do
Yeah.
you guys know what this is? This
No.
is the
light
this is-
fades away.
yeah. Well, this is like the respawn restricted. So like this is what pops
Okay.
up whenever you
Oh,
die
yeah.
and you like won't respawn anymore. This is not what it looked like in D1. This is specifically the D2 one. I like
Yeah.
the one in D1 better, but that's just me. I'm
So-
all right tonight, boys.
I knew what it was when Dave referenced it, and then you were like, "Do you know what this is?" And I was like, "Now I have to say no because what I thought was clearly wrong." If Brandon's asking, turns out it wasn't. So I already got people in the chat asking about Hellblade 2 tonight.
Ooh.
No, probably not. I didn't play Hellblade 1 for like 4 years after it came out. Probably not going to get to Hellblade 2 this evening. But I don't know, just kick it off with some banter. Have you guys seen, Dave, you haven't because you're the smart one and you stay off Twitter, just the absolute mess. Like, if you like this game, you're an Xbot. If you hate this game or don't love it, you're a Sony pony. And you
Right.
just, there's no way, you're not allowed to be in between.
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
understand. I've never understood the tribe mentality.
I
Not
think
only in games, but in anything.
Right. I think it's just engagement farming. I truly think it is. People can get a big enough rise out of anything nowadays, and it goes viral because it's like if you can get people to argue, and as many people as you can to argue on your post as possible, or to call you a moron, like it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. It's like any press is good press.
Mm-hmm.
But that's essentially how everything works on Twitter now. Is it's just like it doesn't really matter if it's meaningful or interesting. It's just engagement is the only thing that matters with no other consideration. So I
Yeah.
really think that's a lot of what it is. And that's a lot of what the internet's becoming. So
It's so interesting on Twitter. You see, like, I don't know, a post that blows up, and it's, about cattle farming in Nevada. I don't know, just whatever it is. It's a big post. It gets a lot of impressions, and all the top replies are just, and yes, there is the porn bot problem on Twitter, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about there's
It's
like all
bad.
these replies with people who are like, here's a 30-second video of someone cutting open a cheese wheel. I did say Nevada wrong, and I knew you were going to have a problem with it, Hulk Hogan, even though you're one to talk. I think I actually asked Hulk Hogan one time, not the real Hulk Hogan, but the other Hulk Hogan, how do you say that? And he told me, and I just
Nevada.
didn't care because I've said it the other way my entire life. So anyway, you just get like a bunch of posts underneath it that are not at all related to it, and it's got to just be people trying to farm impressions. But like, I've seen people who have legitimate impressions, and a lot of them, and they're making almost no money from it. How can it be? Like, when does this stop? It doesn't.
It doesn't. Not under Elon. like I mean, let's just be honest. I don't know that he's just up.
I don't think it has anything to do with Elon. I think he's brilliant. I don't know about his management of Twitter being brilliant. I think
that's what I'm saying specifically. Not about the man himself. It's just like I feel like if he wanted to, he could make it better. I feel like I saw something the other day about like
but
he was
the platform's
joking.
actually making money for the first time ever.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
Be making more money if it weren't so many bots and there were like actual people
Clearly not.
consuming ads.
Yeah.
with bots.
Yeah. I think it just gets the impressions up for the advertisers to do it, and then we get so tired of the ads we end up paying for it, which I haven't, but that's not the point. I don't know. I just have never had a problem with the way it's been run since he's come around. But Dave, you had such a problem, you just left the platform entirely.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about that, but I was more thinking about the what you kicked off with about Xbox and Sony ponies. And
Oh yeah, sorry.
I guess I'm speaking from a point of privilege, but I've always had both.
Yeah.
It's not like I go out and get both at launch. Like I just over time I save up money and I get both. And I don't I still feel like though if I just had one, I probably wouldn't be shouting at other people on the internet about how great mine was.
Mhm.
But I think the discourse is probably so bad right now, and it's probably always is, but it's like Xbox haven't had a good thing in a long time. Like it was supposed to be Starfield, and that didn't really work out, and it appears that Hellblade 2 is at least from a technical standpoint a really good reason to own an Xbox.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's I guess if the one thing I will say is if you're an Xbot and a Sony pony is coming at you, then you probably have something that they're a little bit jealous of. So, but you could also just buy both, probably.
Right.
You have time to be yelling at people on Twitter, and you have a smartphone. I mean, anyways, yeah.
I find it funny if I talk highly of a game, whatever it is, I get like if it's Final Fantasy, I get accused of being a Sony pony, and I'm like, okay, look, I've turned on my PlayStation like 12 times this year, and it was all for like 3 games, and my most played game ever is Sea of Thieves, which is owned by Microsoft, and by the way, I play most everything on a PC. And I also have my Nintendo Switch in there that I play all Nintendo exclusives on. But if I say something nice about Xbox, then I'm an Xbox. So like, there's no winning. It's just whatever you're talking about is the wrong thing. And that's
when we used to write, Phil, God rest his soul, he probably taught me one of the most important lessons I'll ever learn, just in general. Occasionally we would have something go up on the website and it would I don't want to say go viral, but it would get attention on certain aggregators like N4G or something like that, or even just like the YouTube videos we posted. And I remember the first time one of mine got some attention, and the first thing Phil told me is do not read the comments.
Yeah.
And from that point on, I just in general, I avoid the comment section. It's just there's nothing good there. You know that meme of the guy getting in the toxic waste suit and going into the comment section? It's just there's nothing ever good comes from the comment section. And the reason that's why there's a reason that's where all the bots are, because it's we've gotten so swept up in what other people are talking about. But yeah.
I told via Twitter a friend this today who's a big YouTuber that a long time ago, and this is probably when I was starting college, somebody told me, don't read the comments and never feed the trolls. And the way he explained it, and I didn't have time to go into all this nuance, is that your life is just better if you don't read the comments, and also if you never feed the trolls. But if you do read the comments, absolutely don't feed the trolls. Like, there's a reason there's a never before the feed the trolls part. Because if you're reading the comments and you get offended and then you speak out, the people who just offended you are only going to do it more because they know they got a rise out of you. So right. I've kind of like throughout owning a business, throughout being in politics, throughout having podcasts over the years, just existing on the internet, in the newspaper, whatever, wherever I've been, it's always just been a thing of mine that I don't do that. And when that has happened, when I have been like, oh, let me check out the comments on this and see what people thought of that, and I've let's say I've been disappointed or something, I never comment on it. You don't tell people on the internet or in your life really, but on the internet especially, the thing you hate the most, because they are going to make sure that you hear about it forever, like feet. By the way, everyone, I don't know if you ever caught on. I don't really care that much about your feet,
He
one
has
way
a
or
foot
another.
fetish. He's telling us right now.
I don't care one way or another. It's just a thing for you to play into and get some engagement. I'm not making any money off your engagement, but like, if I'm telling you something I absolutely hate, decent chance I don't actually really care that much.
Feet question.
Trolling is an art form. Absolutely, Hulk Hogan, and you would know better than anyone. Guys, we should talk about some video game stuff, but first, let's talk about this show. This is the HP Podcast. We talk about video games most of the time on this show. You can support us over at patreon.com/handsomephantom. We appreciate you over there. You can support us for as little as $1 a month if you'd like. Get ad-free early audio access to the show. Also, only on audio. And only a month early for patrons at the $3 level or higher is HP After Dark. We got a fresh episode for you this past week with our buddy Dustin joined us. It was a good one. It was a fun time. We try to keep all of our stuff like between an hour and a half, and we pretty much do that with After Dark all the time as well. So consider signing up for the Patreon if you are interested. You can hang out with us on Discord as well over at handsomephantom.com/Discord. Join us, talk about lots of stuff. We appreciate you hanging out over there. If you're here right now while we're live, or if you're watching the YouTube video later, go ahead and just give it a little thumbs up, a little like. I don't actually know. I know on Twitter, if you post cheese wheels being cut in 30 seconds, that gets engagement. I don't have any idea if likes on YouTube get engagement anymore, but I want you to do it anyway because I'm your friend. Or something like that. If you don't know, we do this show live every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. on YouTube on 2 channels. We multicast on the Handsome Phantom channel as well as Ben is Handsome. We appreciate you guys who hang out with us wherever it is, whenever it is, whether we've ever heard from you or not, although we would like to. We still appreciate you. Let's get into number 1. IGN Entertainment has acquired the Gamer Network of digital brands. Let me just stop.
The Gamer Network.
Who decided we should call it the Gamer Network? Like, there was not a gamer that did it.
A business
No, it wasn't.
executive.
It was a business executive that was like, we need some diversification. Let's get the gamers. Anyway, I've always wondered that. IGN Entertainment has acquired the Gamer Network family of digital brands for an undisclosed sum, leading to some layoffs at the UK-based organization. Gamer Network's publications include GamesIndustry.biz, Eurogamer, Rock Paper Shotgun, VG247, and Dicebreaker. They also hold shares outside Xbox, Digital Foundry, and Hookshot, which operates Nintendo Life, Push Square, Pure Xbox, and Time Extension. Now, those last ones, I'll just say, I don't 100% understand how they work because I think they somewhat do distribution for them. I don't think they technically own them, but they have some sort of deal worked out that I assume will transfer to the new ownership. IGN, a division of Ziff Davis, bought these sites from ReadPop, the organizer of PAX and New York Comic Con. However, UK-based events like EGX and MCM, as well as the digital brand Popverse, remain with ReadPop. Boys, it's a really interesting time where we're seeing these sites decline in popularity. The rise of video is it's been here and it's continuing. And buying up more publications. Now, at least they're online publications, not print publications. But we hear a lot of people talk about how IGN is that kind of site is fading away. And here they are gobbling up a lot of their competition. Dave, I wonder, first of all, how does it make you feel? And 2, what's the strategy?
I'll answer the second part first, and I simply think that the strategy here is IGN trying to corner a little bit more of the European market, because I think the majority of this acquisition is centered around publications that, while they exist on the internet, they seem to target a European audience, and maybe that's something that IGN doesn't really have much of right now. And I always see like IGN Italy popping around, so maybe this is
Yeah.
them trying to expand that presence. But I don't like this simply because I think this threatens journalistic integrity and independence. Because if you have one company that owns a lot of the media, then you're not necessarily going to have kind of integrity maintained. And the other reason why I really don't like this is because what I look for, what I've traditionally looked to these sites and outlets for, is reviews. That's just always what I wanted to see. Is I want to hear not necessarily the site's opinion, but their roster of writers I've grown a relationship with, and I want to know what they feel about the game. So when they all kind of fall under the IGN umbrella, which is a site that I've intentionally avoided over the past 5 years or so, then I suddenly don't feel the same way about Rock Paper Shotgun and some of the other ones you named there. So that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to avoid them, but it's just not good. I like that diversity, and I don't know. I feel like over the last little while, I've almost exclusively turned to independent YouTubers for this kind of coverage. Whereas in the past, I was every day I was on game trailers, I was on GameStop, and IGN, admittedly, I was one of the big ones. But now I just feel like they're just so strewn with like advertorials, and I don't know if they're actually being paid to write a lot of this stuff, but it's just, if you get that little inkling in your mind that what you're reading is a paid advertisement, then you don't want to read it anymore, because it's not an opinion, it's an advert. So I for one don't like this, and I understand why IGN has done it, but it's again another reason why I've almost exclusively switched to people on YouTube. So yeah.
Brandon, your thoughts on Mega IGN
Yeah,
or
I mean,
Mecha IGN? As
yeah, right. Yeah. Um, yeah, I tend to agree with Dave here. I don't think this is good. I really do think this is a diversification play. I really do think that they're casting the net wide. And I don't know that it's very deep, but they're trying to spread it out as far as they can. So, IGN's definitely lost a lot of my respect over the years. I'd really be curious to see how much their business has declined over the years. I don't know if we have any hard evidence to state that their business has went down, but I know a lot of public opinion has kind of swayed. I feel like they, at least in my circles, I don't know if you guys can concur with that, but I feel like a lot of the public opinion, like they used to be so highly regarded. And I don't really see that sort of discourse anymore.
Sorry, did you see just earlier this week with the Kai Cenat tweet when he got the Elden Ring run?
Yeah.
And
Or I knew he did the Elden Ring run, but I didn't see what you're talking about
so
specifically.
IGN tweeted out that and they were just basically saying that he completed the run, but they referred to him as a Twitch streamer who previously incited riots in New York City.
Seriously?
Yeah, and it was just like,
Oh man.
how could you IGN tweet that? And they
Yeah.
apologized, and all
Yeah.
his response was just fuck IGN.
Dude, legitimately, and like I agree with that. I'm a Kai fan, but yeah, I don't know. This is weird, and I think that it's like Dave said, it's important to have a diverse cast of opinions that don't all fall under the same umbrella. I mean, we deal with this problem a lot in America, where big companies buy up media, and in this case, you just have media buying up other media, and either way, it's bad. So,
Yeah.
this is not a good look. And yeah, I 100% agree with Dave. I feel like individual voices used to be more important in these sort of gaming sites back in the day. And that's why I gravitate towards individual people on YouTube and like their own sites and shit now. But now it's more about like the opinion as a whole, I feel like, and you have to fall under a certain umbrella. So I don't know, guys. It's not good. I agree with Kai. Fuck IGN. So
It's interesting because a little birdie told me sometime back that some smaller outlets, more independent outlets, were getting, that Ziff was sniffing around at some smaller outlets. And it seems to me like that would have been the right play. Now, maybe they couldn't get anybody on board. I don't know. But you throw enough money at almost anybody, and they're probably going to go for it.
Right.
But when you get something like, the Gamer Group or whatever, the Gamer Network, when you get something like that that's already owned by a conglomerate of types, even if they're a small fry in the corporate world, it's a lot easier to gobble those sites up and put them under your umbrella. But I just feel like if the business model is declining, then why would you want to buy smaller entities than yourself whose business is probably declining even more than yours? That seems like a mistake to me. Now, maybe they got a screaming good deal and it was worth it, but I don't know. Try and strike up some, hey, you're a popular independent YouTuber. Do you want to do a show for us and we'll take X% of the profit or whatever? And it seems like that's the way to go, not let's dig our heels into this, for lack of a better way to say it, dying message, but dying media. Sites like IGN, yeah, it's still one of the most respected game sites in the world, entertainment sites in the world. But that's because of its URL. That's because of its internet history. That's because of all the backlinks and everything that are everywhere. That's not because that's where people want to go when they think of it first. By and large, obviously there's exceptions, but it just just people go where they feel they can trust something. And when you say we're a megacorp that owns 15 other outlets, it's harder and harder to trust them, in my opinion. But then again, we still have Fox News and CNN, and vote for a two-party system in the US, and have 3 major consoles. So I'm clearly wrong. I'm in the minority overall, but yeah, sucks. Seems like it sucks. I don't like it.
Me neither.
That's my actual thought on it. Number 2. Dave, this one's for you specifically. I know you're going to want to hop back in. Redfall is getting one final update before work on it ends entirely. On Friday, the game's official Twitter account thanked fans for support following the news that developer Arcane Austin was one of 4 studios being closed by Microsoft. The final update, Game Update 4, will include revamped neighborhood and nest systems, single-player pausing, and an offline mode, allowing players to continue playing even after the servers shut down. Yes. Initially, Arcane Austin had announced no more updates would come after the studio's closure. However, player feedback prompted this last update to ensure the game remains playable in the future. Dave, we're going to go to you first. Like I said, I know that your problem and all of our problems with Redfall wasn't that it was always online, but we all talked about that being a problem in the future. The future has now come. Are you at all interested in going back and playing Redfall in a non-online, non-group, easily pausable scenario, or is it just the time has passed?
Yeah, absolutely. I am interested in going back because it's on Game Pass, so I don't have to wait for it to go on sale or anything like that. I'm gonna renew my subscription at some point and jump back in. Whether I finish it or not, I don't know. But man, it's wild to think how things can change in 1 year. So this game launched May 2nd, 2023, which is just over a year ago. And the 3 of us got online and we played it. And I was really excited, and I think you guys were just along for the ride. And here we are. Arcane Austin is closed, and their big update that they're sharing is that we're adding single player pausing. This is like when Battlefield added a leaderboard 3 months after the game launched. It's just wild. I also want to say a little inside baseball, as Ben likes to say. Ben comes up with the news stories that we talk about on the show, and I go in, I review them beforehand. But before I went in today, I was like, nice, we got Assassin's Creed Shadow news this week, so we're going to talk about that. It's going to be cool. Not only are we not talking about Assassin's Creed Shadow, Ben snuck this in, so thanks, Ben.
Wait. We just got to pause for a second. I write up the news because I'm the one who was chosen to do so. At any point, you guys can say, let's talk about this, and I'll write it up, or you can write it up. All right, look, you can't put all this heaviness on me here just because that's the headline I saw and decided to run with. Nobody gives a shit about Assassin's Creed anyway, so.
It's a bittersweet moment for sure. But yes, to answer your question, I do want to go back at some point and play through, at least just to see, when you go and check out a game that, like in this case, and you're just like, I wonder how they fixed it. Because in most cases, these live service games do get some sort of TLC, even if they bomb. So I'm curious to see how much better it feels. And I don't have high hopes, but I think about something like Anthem, which King Gathalion, he's a pretty big streamer. He on Friday was playing Anthem, and the only reason he was playing it was because he had like let my chat decide what I'm going to play, and they chose Anthem. And he has so many viewers that people were coming in being like, did Anthem get an update? Is 2.0 finally here? And he's like, no, my viewers wanted me to play this. So even with a game like that, it's fun to go back and see like how it's changed, even though it's been long dead.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do want to check it out, at least for a bit.
Seems like a game that after it had some work on it, I'm sure is better. I don't know if it's good still. I literally haven't played that game since that night we played it, the night it came out. I know you guys played a little bit more than that, but Brandon, Redfall, getting the final update. It lasted longer than Babylon's Fall.
True.
That's
True.
you got to give it good marks for that, right?
Right. I think I may have been the one who played the game the longest of the three of us because
You
I
were.
played for like a week after.
I didn't want to call you out like that. And
That's
do you
okay.
dirty, but
It's okay. I'm a whore for first-person shooters, even if they're bad. So I probably won't be checking it out. I don't know. A lot of the fun for me was playing with your friends. And even though there's like neighborhood and nest updates, I don't know. It can't really be that different. I'm also amazed that this is update 4, that they only managed to push out 3 updates in 1 year is actually crazy to me. I hadn't
3
even
big updates. They like big. They put out like a lot of smaller patches, of course. But this is like
either
yeah.
way.
I know.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. It is sad to see it go, but am I understanding this correctly? If it is going to go offline, so I guess you couldn't play that game locally, could you?
Not prior to this, but that's one of the things they're patching in.
Co-op,
like
like
I understand what you're
like
saying.
split screen.
Before, I don't think you could.
Okay, I was just wondering because I feel like that might actually give it a little bit of legs if you could do like split screen or something. I feel like that could be kind of fun just for a romp or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. Fuck them.
Thanks, Kai. Did they ever explain how they were going to reimburse the people who bought like the premium? Did anyone see anything about that?
I don't know if they explained it. They said they were going to do some sort. I think the language they used was a make good offer somehow or like that. In my opinion, I don't know. I go back and forth on this because like if I bought Babylon's Fall and the servers went down, I wouldn't expect them to reimburse me for it. But I kind of feel like with Redfall, you're buying it from Microsoft. You don't expect it to go offline in less than a year or about a year. So, but no, to answer your question, Dave, I don't think that they have announced it, but they could have. I could have missed it just like I did the Assassin's Creed news you wanted to talk about. Alex says, I don't think Redfall could handle the split screen since they have no tether in the open world. That's true, because yeah, you can go pretty much anywhere. Like if you could be on 4 sides of the map, right? In that
think
game.
so, yeah.
So if it was local, that'd be pretty hard for the machine to basically be running the entire map. But I'm not a scientist, so I don't know. Number 3. Microsoft is reportedly adding the next Call of Duty to Xbox Game Pass. The Wall Street Journal states that this announcement will come during Microsoft's Xbox Showcase on June 9th. Earlier, Microsoft debated including new Call of Duty releases in Game Pass due to concerns that it might undercut traditional sales, which typically generate about $70 per copy and sell over 20 million units on average. I think that's a little higher than that, actually, but that's what the last 2 have been. The report doesn't clarify if Microsoft will charge extra for Call of Duty within Game Pass or if it will raise the Game Pass Ultimate subscription fee, though there's been speculation about a potential price increase. The next Call of Duty, rumored to be set in the 90s Gulf War, is targeting a late October release. Microsoft Xbox Showcase on June 9th will feature a special Call of Duty presentation, and it is expected to announce a new Gears of War game, along with release dates for titles like Flight Sim 24, Avowed, and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Brandon, we're going to you first, of course, with the Call of Duty story here.
Banger.
Brandon, just give me your initial impressions on what this means for Call of Duty, what it means for Microsoft. We're going to get very nuanced on this, but I want to start out there.
No, yeah, I ultimately think this is good for the consumer, especially for me specifically. Um, I'll get back to what it probably means for Microsoft and maybe for Activision, but it's great, man, because last year I abstained, and I probably would have abstained better not, right? But this is good because now I can only pay for a couple months of Call of Duty, and then like I fall off every single time, then I can stop paying for it. It's a win-win. What this means though for the larger picture is that even though I do think there will be an initial spike and there could be an increase in Game Pass numbers, I do think this is probably a net negative for them in general. Like I do genuinely feel like this will lose them money. This will lose them dollars. And I don't know that with the way Call of Duty has been going, if this is like the best thing to increase the amount of money because there's been such a public dissenting opinion on it recently. I feel like it is good for the public, but I don't know that this is the best possible option for Microsoft, truthfully, financially.
Dave, same question. Your just initial thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this. I agree wholeheartedly with Brandon about this being it's a win for gamers. I mean, you can play Call of Duty for I don't know, 2 or 3 months for half the cost you would have paid for, the game one price. And Call of Duty isn't a franchise that really goes on deep discounts. Like, you'll get it on sale here and there, but yeah, I'm excited. If this is the case, then I'm really happy. But it's the one point where I'm a little I think a different opinion is on from the business perspective. I think at the end of the day, this is new money for Microsoft, and they haven't had the share of the pie before. And the install base is still on PlayStation, so I don't think that this is potentially going to pull a considerable amount of people from PlayStation into Game Pass. So those people are all going to still buy day one. Then you have the people who just want to play on PC, and it'll be on Game Pass for them. And I think the idea is, if you get 100 people who get it on Game Pass, then if 10 of those people are long-term subscribers, then that's a win for you. That's not even adding in the fact that, you now have an opportunity to upsell those people with Battle Pass and cosmetics and stuff like that. So I think at the end of the day, this is all going to be found money for Microsoft. And I think COD Pass is going to be the way of the future. I don't think Microsoft needs to increase the price, nor do I think they're in a position to do it, just because, the last year with Starfield kind of being a little bit lukewarm. I think they may actually drive people away who maybe aren't interested in Call of Duty if they do have a price increase. Then again, this is Microsoft we're talking about, and they'll do whatever they want that's going to make them the most money. But I don't know. It's great. I'm happy to see this. I'm really looking forward to this show in early June because I want to see more Gears. But yeah, I want to say that I think Cold War was my first that era of Call of Duty games. I don't know what you call them, the Black Ops games, I guess. And I fucking loved it. So I'm really excited that they're going back to this. And yeah, I think I don't know if I'm going to be day one on Call of Duty this year, but I'm definitely looking forward to what they're going to show us in a couple weeks.
Dave, you touched on something that I was going to bring up.
Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Assassin's Creed Shadows, amongst many other things, and that is the microtransactions, the Battle Pass. This is something that I think a lot of people overlook, and I don't know ultimately, and I think that's part of the problem is that Microsoft doesn't know either if this is going to end up making them more or less money. But I think the most amount of money that Call of Duty and Warzone and everything underneath it they make a lot of money, don't get me wrong, on the initial sale of the game. $70 a pop, 20 million plus. They're making bank. But you already have a lot of people who spend money in game. They buy microtransactions, they buy skins, they buy whatever. But then on top of that, if you have people who are paying $15 a month if they have Ultimate, or $10 a month if they just have PC or Xbox Game Pass, they're probably going to play for a couple months. I know myself, and I'm not known for being a big spender. I wouldn't say I'm stingy, but I'm not a big spender. If I don't have to pay for a game, I am much, much, much more likely to say, here's $10. Oh, you know what? A couple months later, here's another $10. Brandon just talked about it last week with Counter-Strike. He didn't pay for Counter-Strike 2. They have a pass for the rest of your life, whatever, $15, sure, have at it. I want to support the game, whatever. So I think that people are much more likely to chip in on those microtransactions, and I think that's where the longevity is. Because if you're somebody, if you're somebody who's already paying for Game Pass and you also like Call of Duty, well, you're certainly not going to stop paying for Game Pass because you're going to play Call of Duty. But if you're somebody who doesn't already have Game Pass, then that's a new subscription for them. And if you're somebody who signs up just for the service, just to play Call of Duty, then you're probably someone who's going to be enthusiastic enough to also buy a microtransaction or something like that. So I do think there's a lot more potential just in that microtransaction piece that I think a lot of the people I see online, analysts talking, aren't considering.
Well, but counterpoint though, do you guys legitimately think this will lower the amount of sales though? Because I do think there is something to that. I hadn't previously thought. I mean, obviously, if I thought about it for more than 2 seconds, a lot of the install base is on PlayStation. Amazing point, Dave. Absolutely, I get
And
that.
PC, yeah.
But I feel like this is gonna, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe as many people won't get it on Game Pass as I think, but I feel like I can't be the only one that's thinking right now, like, I can have it for 3 months and then save myself some money.
I don't think the average person has multiple consoles. Maybe I'm wrong there. I don't actually know, but just judging by the amount of consoles sold, I think most people have an Xbox or a PlayStation or a Switch, or they have an Xbox and a Switch or a PlayStation and a Switch. I don't think most gamers have an Xbox and a PlayStation. So if you're already on PlayStation, especially if you've been playing the last couple years on PS5, you're probably not going to pick up an Xbox for this. So yeah, you're going to still pay the $70. And there's only like something like 25 million. I say only. That's still a lot. But there's only like 25 million Xboxes out there, period. And not all of them have Game Pass because we only have about 35 million Game Pass subscribers. That includes Xbox One, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, PC. So that includes all of them. And then you have people who, of course, are playing on cloud, and who knows how that works with Call of Duty. So I don't think that you're going to see a massive decrease in their sales. I think you'll see some decrease. And I think there are people like you and I, Brandon, who maybe in the past we would have bought it on PlayStation, or Dave even too. Maybe in the past I would have bought it on PlayStation, but now because I can play it with a subscription and it only costs me a fraction potentially, then yeah, I'm just going to play it on Game Pass because I don't care where I play my games. But the average person, I think, either cares where they play their games or only has access to certain places to play their games. So I see your point, but I'm just not sure the actual demographics shake out to be that way. I think they will lose some sales on Xbox 100%, because in the past, if you had Game Pass, you were also paying for Call of Duty. Now, if you have Game Pass, you're not. So yeah, that's some sales lost. But if they pick up a new subscriber and that new subscriber plays for 3 months and then forgets to cancel on the 4th month, but they bought a battle pass and they bought a skin, they've almost got $70 out of them just for Call of Duty. So,
no,
yeah, I don't know.
Fair point.
Here's my next thing. Oh, sorry, Brandon, were you gonna say something?
No, go ahead.
And Dave, I'll direct this to you first, just to keep it going and around here. How can Microsoft possibly say, and we don't have this directly from Microsoft, we have this through reporters, leaks and stuff like that, we're not sure if we're going to add it to Game Pass. Microsoft, who comes out and says, you need to be all in on Xbox, you need to be all in on Game Pass because every game we ever put out is going to be on Game Pass. They go to court and they say, one of the reasons we want Call of Duty, we want Activision, is, yeah, we want the mobile, but we also really want to have Call of Duty because it's such a big competitor. We want that on Game Pass to bolster our service. That's the only way we can survive. And then a year goes by, or not even a year after the acquisition, and they're like, should we do it? How is that even possible that they would consider not putting it on Game Pass? I personally, that's the when I'm looking at it as a consumer, I'm like, that's the beginning of the slippery slope where now if one game that they own doesn't come to Game Pass upon release, I'm gonna have to buy it. I'm an Xbox gamer, and now I'm paying for Game Pass. I was loyal to them. They're not giving me that game. How many more are coming? And then that's when subscriptions start falling out.
Yeah. I feel like when Microsoft has addressed this publicly over the past 18 months or so, it's been in the light of the anti competition lawsuit that they were dealing with Sony. So I think in those cases they had to kind of downplay that they weren't sure if it was going to come to Game Pass or not. But you're right. Like Microsoft's strategy with Game Pass has been every single one of our big games is coming to Game Pass day one. That's been the norm for several years now. It's not like with PlayStation Plus where it's like, some games are going to be there and some aren't, and you're just kind of keeping gamers guessing. So well, they've publicly kind of been like, we're not sure. I think they knew from day one that the goal here was to get Activision Blizzard so that Call of Duty could be that boon for Game Pass, and their whole strategy is Game Pass. So I think there would, behind closed doors, there was no doubt that this was going to happen, but because of some of the stuff's going on in the courtroom, they had to maybe, I don't know, try and convince Sony that no, don't worry, we're still gonna, we're not gonna destroy you or anything like that. So yeah, I think this was a foregone conclusion, and this was kind of the whole reason why Microsoft pursued Activision Blizzard from day one. So yeah, I don't think there was any question.
Well, what seems to be the narrative out there is that there's an internal struggle at Microsoft of people in high positions saying we can't afford to put that on there, and other people, of course, saying, well, we're going to put it on there because that's what our Game Pass promises, essentially. So I don't know. There seems to be some doubt. I don't think Wall Street Journal and others are fabricating that, although it may not be 100% true. But it doesn't seem like it may be a foregone conclusion, but I don't think it's one everybody agreed with that was in a position to have disagreements about it.
Yeah, I mean, well, look at the conversation that we just had, where it's like, if you're talking about Hellblade 2 or a new Gears of War game, like, yeah, of course, put it on Game Pass. That's what it's there for. But I think, something like Call of Duty is in its league of its own, with millions of copies sold every single year, regardless of quality or launch quality, whatever. So I wouldn't be surprised if there were discussions at the senior level of, should we really be doing this? Because as we just discussed, are they, which option's better? And you're never really going to know because you're going to have to pick one over the other. But yeah, so sorry, I'm sure that these discussions have been had, because it's Call of Duty is in a league of its own when it comes to day one sales. So yeah, but I still think it's just a matter of time, and it's probably going to be this year. The question is the back catalog. Is it already on Game Pass?
No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Well, I wonder when that's going to happen.
Well, that's just the thing too. Is like, when did they do last year's title? I feel like that would cut into stuff. It has to be like they have to decide how soon. Like, putting some of the old shit out, fine, but if they're still raking revenue from these other games, although, Ben, based off of what you said, that might be smart. Let's say you put an old game, you put the original Modern Warfare, the 2019, not the original, but like the newest one of them all.
The newest original.
Right.
Modern Warfare.
Yeah. The revamp.
Modern Warfare 1/2.
1 squared. It's like, could you maybe pluck some money out of that if there's still a store up? I don't know. I'm just bullshitting here, but like,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying though, is like, do you put some of these old ones that still have storefronts up in the hope that maybe you can make some more money if people go back?
I think I think they have to do that at some point. But they never made the promise that if we buy a company, all their old games will be on Game Pass. They just said all of the games from our studios, which all of Activision studios are their studios, all of them will be. But if they delay that another year or never do it at all, what I'm saying is my confidence as a consumer who likes Game Pass erodes. I'm like, well, I don't know if I thought I was gonna get that one. Now I'm not. Maybe they won't put Gears of War on there. Maybe the next Halo won't be on there because it's too big, So I think it's just a matter of they have to do it to not only fulfill their goals, it seems like, with Game Pass, but also just to not alienate more of their fan base that somehow has not gone away so far.
Yeah, it's strange.
There was another point I had, but I don't remember what it was. I am excited for that showcase.
Me too.
I'd love to see some of those games that I mentioned there at the end. I don't really think I care at all about Avowed anymore. I slightly cared before. I would love for them to come out in June and be like, here's why you should care. I know a lot of people are pumped about it, but I've just
Dude.
not been excited.
I think Avowed looks sick.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I know a lot of people think it looks sick. For me, it hasn't. It's all about the presentation for me so
Right.
far. It just hasn't looked appealing. The game itself looks appealing. The way they've presented it has kind of been blah. So
I think about the Outer Worlds at least once a week and going back
nice.
and replaying it. So this is good for me. I'm
Yeah.
excited for this.
Let's go to number 4. Shift Up's action RPG Stellar Blade might soon come to PC as the developers are considering a release beyond its current PlayStation 5 exclusivity. The game has performed well, prompting thoughts of a sequel and further expansion. Shift Up's latest financial report mentions the game's success and potential for increased sales on multiple platforms. In addition to Stellar Blade, the South Korean studio is working on a new game called Project Witches, which is also expected to release on PC. While Project Witches will be a multi-platform gacha game similar to Shift Up's previous title, Goddess of Victory, Nike? I think it's Nike. Stellar Blade is being eyed for its franchise potential, compared to the likes of God of War and Final Fantasy. Brendan, I have a feeling that mobile game of theirs,
Mhm.
Goddess of Victory, Nike, I have a feeling you would like that game.
Yeah, I was actually before the show started. Wasn't Gene tweeting about that? Doesn't Gene play that?
I don't know. I muted Gene when Rebirth came out, and I keep forgetting to unmute him because I
I'm
just
pretty,
don't. I love Gene, but I don't trust him not to put up spoilers. So
I'm pretty sure Gene plays that game. And I saw him playing it. I was like, "What the fuck is this? It looks like a mobile game. I don't know. Maybe it isn't."
it is a mobile game. Yeah.
Okay, that kind of turns me off.
Yeah.
But either way, this is good, man, dude. If Shift Up puts Stellar Blade on PC, Nexus Mod is about to be bumping, dude. Holy shit, the roof is coming down, brother. Oh my god, Lord have mercy. This is good news. I think it should be on PC, and yeah, I'll talk about it a little bit later, but this is a great game. I would love to see more from them. Very,
Yeah.
very talented studio. And to know, I actually didn't know that Shift Up made other things, not because I didn't think they did, just because I'm ignorant. And to know that they made this gotcha game and that they made something like Stellar Blade after that is just insane. Having played the game. So
Yeah.
no, I think this is great. And I think there is a lot of opportunity here. I would love to see some numbers. I don't know if they put out any numbers yet, but
I
I
don't think
imagine it's
so.
sold fairly well. I mean, maybe if they haven't said anything, maybe it didn't, but
All the analysts seem to be pointing to it selling decently so far, which I'd say probably for a game like this, PlayStation exclusive, probably 2 to 3 million right now would be my guess. But that's purely based on speculation. That's
Right.
not. I don't have any details for that.
yeah.
Dave, I don't know that we really have a point to the story other than the fact that more games coming to PC. Nobody mentions Xbox.
No.
Interesting, not interesting. I don't know.
I mean, as you said, there. What did you say? 25 million Xbox Series consoles out there.
That's my rough estimate. There could be a few more, a few less. I don't know.
Point is it's not a lot compared to the rest of the market. So why would you? It's not as simple as you just rename the file .xsx as I once thought it was. So I mean, what's the point? What I'm more curious about is, first of all, Brandon, I have to agree with why you should play in the chat that I think this Nikkei game is right up your alley. You should go check it out on the App Store. So
how do they know that?
how do they know what?
How to pronounce the game?
I don't know. They play it, I guess.
Are they really into it?
So Shift Up has an exclusivity agreement with Sony, and we don't actually know how long that is, and we're assuming that their Shift Up has to wait until that exclusivity agreement expires, and then they can release it on PC. Like, this wouldn't be Sony releasing it as one of their first party games on PC, like Ghost
Right.
of Tsushima. I've got that right?
That is my understanding. I don't know if Sony. I would assume for exclusivity and marketing that they had some sort of payment deal.
So
But
There it
That's
is.
it.
There
That's
it
the
is,
one.
boys.
So what I'm wondering is like, I agree. This is a no brainer. This should be a franchise. It's undoubtedly sold really, really well. And I'm wondering, like, does Sony make a move for Shift Up and try to buy them like they did with Housemark? I don't know if that's a similar situation, but I don't know if Sony has any money left after buying Bungie. But I'm just kind of wondering if there's an opportunity for Sony to lock up a pretty cool new franchise into their catalog, and they, you know, I know they've got God of War, but I think this could kind of be its own thing. So I don't know if that would ever happen, but I do think there might be an opportunity there for, if they did it, I wouldn't be surprised. That's for sure.
I want to
But
say Shift Up just got bought.
they did. Okay.
By who?
Let me look.
It's probably Embracer.
Or they went public, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. This is for Goddess of Victory. This is from October. It says Tencent subsidiary Aceville has purchased approximately 2 million shares of Shift Up. I don't know how many shares they have, but they had some. It's 20%. It looks like
How convenient.
a year prior. So,
Fucking
but I
Tencent.
want to say that somebody else owned part of them. I'll look it up here. Shift Up. Here's how you do it. Wikipedia. And then you click the link. And then you
Click
click.
the link.
This is a. Then you want me to share my screen
mom's
here?
laptop on the phone.
All right, what
Can
do
you
you
share
see
the
on the
screen
screen right now, Ben? What do you see on the
It's
screen?
a white background, even though I have on dark mode.
No, mom, that's your microwave, not your laptop.
I don't know, the
Shift Up
screen's
doesn't
black.
have its own page, but I want to say that I saw something about them going public or something like that, giving out shares. I don't remember for sure, but regardless, it would be interesting for Sony to lock them up. But it seems like the smarter thing for Sony to do in this environment is to be able to, and I don't know that I like this, but the smarter thing is for them to guarantee exclusivity rather than have to fund them.
Right.
Which would be
That's just
smart,
my
I
thoughts,
think.
though.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I really am looking forward to seeing numbers if they're going to post them. So,
Yeah.
we'll see. Time will tell.
Time will tell. Now, that's all the news stories I prepared, but Dave, would you like to talk about Assassin's Creed?
No, I was just pulling your leg. Well, there was the one news story about how well the pre-orders have gone, specifically the in Japan.
Okay.
And apparently a lot of people are buying the like $100 edition.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess this just kind of goes to show that. Did either of you guys watch the trailer for Assassin's Creed Shadow? The reveal? Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
I don't watch trailers.
It just
for
goes to
games I
show
don't care
that
about.
people have been asking for Assassin's Creed in Japan for a long,
Yes.
long time.
10
So,
years.
yeah. And even though we have Ghost of Tsushima now, and we have the whole Neo series and Rise of the Ronin and stuff like that, it seems people still really wanted this and they're excited for it. So, yeah, I don't know.
Dude, Ghost of Tsushima, the better Assassin's Creed.
So you don't know that yet because you haven't played Shadow. But
True. We'll see.
yeah,
Ghost on PC. I'm thinking about playing Ghost on PC, even though I already platinumed it on PS4.
Dude, it was so lit on console, especially after the 60 frames update. I'm like, what could I possibly be missing?
yeah.
Maybe once I get my new computer, I'll check it out.
I'm going to play the DLC this year. I know that because I still haven't
Nice.
played it.
I never played the DLC. Yeah, I heard it was just more of the same, but I was okay with that because I love the game. So that's one, Brandon. That one makes up for when you made me buy Marvel's Avengers for $70, $60, and I hated it, and it crashed my PS4. You also told me how great Ghost of Tsushima was, and you weren't excited beforehand, not that excited, and you
Right.
played it and told me how great it was, and within like a day of it coming out, I was like, well, I got to go buy it. And then it wasn't available in any stores within an hour of us, so I had to drive further, and then I had to buy Phil a copy, and then he died. But anyway, my point is, you're like even now because
Thank you.
the Avengers thing was real bad, but you brought Ghost into my life, and so that's
Someone clip this so I can use it later.
don't do it. Boys, it's time to talk about what we've been playing, and I had lined up talking about Shift Up right before the segment so we could go right into Brandon talking about Stellar Blade.
Oh yes. So I beat Stellar Blade this past week. I actually beat it Sunday, I think. So a lot of fun. Really enjoyed the game. The ending was really, really cool. I won't spoil anything, but the last leg was it didn't die down. Let's say that it just kept ramping and building and building. So, um, this is the sort of game that, like, at first, especially before the game came out, I was unsure. I got the game, started getting into the game, started feeling how the game played, and it just kept building and building and building. And I think that if I wouldn't have been so thorough, it would have been even more fast paced than I made it. But I was going for the plat, so I don't know. I feel like this game has a lot of good beats, and if you don't get bogged down with some of the side stuff like I did and collecting literally everything, I feel like it's paced really well.
You just wanted more screen time with Eve.
Hate the player, not the game. You know what I'm saying? Uh, so no, man. Yeah, this game is awesome. And I'm really looking forward to getting the platinum. I am well on my way.
Nice.
I should be able to report good things next week. But yeah, time and time again, this game has delivered and continued to deliver visually. The story was fine. It was kind of interesting by the end. You guys know I'm not like a huge story guy, but by the end, I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool. And the combat just builds and builds and builds. That's the biggest thing for me is I felt like it kept getting more complex and more rewarding as time went on. And even in New Game Plus, props to Shift Up for having a New Game Plus at launch. Props to Shift Up for having entire new variants of skins and clothing for launch on New Game Plus. So there really is an incentive and like new powers for New Game Plus. So I've already started my New Game Plus, and there is already a bunch of stuff that I didn't have the first playthrough. So
Nice.
super cool, man, and not something you often get at launch. So would recommend highly, highly, highly for anybody.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna ask to borrow it from you once you get the plat,
Yeah,
and
for
once you
sure.
get into Elden Ring season. I
Well,
know you'll be good and distracted for a while.
there's only there's less than 30 days left.
Yeah.
And I think I will have the platinum in the next two sittings. And
Yeah.
I am very, very, very much looking forward to getting back to Elden Ring. Especially, I'm not going to sidetrack us too much, but did either one of you watch the story trailer today?
I did,
I don't watch trailers.
and I had no idea what happened.
Watch it.
Dave didn't watch it because he isn't going to play the game because it deleted his save. Remember?
Fuck. But you get to see the Wicker Man and Messimer. You get 18 inches of the Impaler on screen. Um, but it looks really good, and there's some dope ass shit. From does it like nobody, like art style, high fantasy. Like this shit is lit. Liza P can try. Lords of the Fallen can try. The shit is banging. It's banging. It always been banging. So really excited for that. Stellar Blade was great. What have y'all been playing?
Well, I wanted to say I just needed to clarify. I did watch the trailer, but not because I watched it, because a streamer I was watching watched it on stream. So,
Okay.
just to clarify.
You still watched it.
I did, yeah. I mean, I didn't
He's like,
stab my eyes out or anything.
No.
For me, I have been continuing to play lots and lots and lots of Sea of Thieves this week. There's a special thing happening over the course of 7 days where they give out these quests, 4 of them to every player, and they're an enormous amount of loot. So, of course, I've just been trying to steal them, a lot of them. So that's been what's occupying a lot of my time. I played V Rising the last 2 nights as well. Man, I really like this game. Of course, there's the vampire motif. There's the whole, you can turn into a wolf or a bear or whatever. You're out there sucking blood, all that kind of stuff. But what I'm really enjoying is the crafting and the way that it works. I knew about V Rising a long time ago, but I hadn't seen any of it. I hadn't watched any gameplay. I just knew it was an early access, and I didn't think it was for me. And then when I realized there was crafting was after I started playing it. And I'm a sucker for crafting games, of course, survival games in general. And I just really like the way they do it. I mean, it encourages the exploration, as do most survival crafting games, because you need to go out and discover new areas and new enemies to be able to progress your buildings and the things that you need and armor and all that kind of stuff. But in addition to that, like there's things that you can go out and just kill an entire bandit camp and get what you need over time. But you can also choose to instead just go and wipe out a few of them and then come back and farm it. Now it's going to take you longer, but like there's just multiple ways to approach different things. The patterns in the way that you go and hunt down bosses, I think the way that they lead you to them is really cool. There's some of them where they tell you almost exactly where they are. Here's a boss, you got to follow their trail, you go find them. There's others where they're just like, I don't know, figure it out. So you've got to actually go in and try to figure out by following this blood scent trail where to go. And as you kill each boss, you get like one power that you can assign. You can't use them all at once. You have to pick which ones you like more. So there's still a bit of a learning curve on each one before you can decide if you like it or not. But there's a payoff for killing each boss and progressing. Not only does it unlock those powers, but it unlocks new items that you can either craft or build or whatever. So I'm really enjoying it, having a lot of fun. Been playing with a few buddies and just had I think 3 or 4 sittings at this point. But I like it. I don't know. I think I said this last week. I still don't know if this is a game I want to play solo, but it does seem to have scaling, so it seems like you could easily play it solo if you chose to. So that's it for that. And then just the tip here, Mass Effect. Started Mass Effect this week. I played through the whole first 2 chapters, I think, like an hour and a half in. I don't have a lot to report yet because I'm so early on. The one thing I will say is good and bad at the same time. This game, even though it's the remaster, the Legendary Edition, whatever it is, it shows its age a bit. It's showing its age not only in the graphics, which is fine because it's an older game, I understand, but just in the structure of it. But at the same time, playing it has made me realize, like, I know that this is one of the first games that did X thing or Y thing. And so that's really cool, too, to be able to see that history kind of unfold for me in real time because I didn't experience it when it came out. I did realize that I think I did play that first mission at some point in the last 20 years. But I don't remember it. I just remember like, oh, I remember this encounter, and it looks a little different, obviously, because it's the remaster. But so I'm liking it. I'm gonna play it because if I don't play it, I have to play Life is Strange. But also because I'm enjoying it. And from what I understand, a lot of people when they've heard I'm playing Mass Effect are like, oh, don't feel bad if you hate the first one. The second one's way better. So, I've got my expectations metered, but I know a ton of people who love the first Mass Effect, and I'm excited to keep going with it. Dave, it's your turn, and I saved you for last, but I just glanced over at your list, and the reason I saved you for last isn't on there. You've betrayed me and haven't played any Nier Automata this week, have you?
Yeah. I asked you last week, or I mentioned I was thinking about taking a break, and you said no, don't do that. And while I respect your opinion, I decided to ignore it, and I took a break from Nier. But speaking of Nier, when I talk about it, I can see the look in your eyes, and I hear people on Discord and stuff, and they're watching me or listening to me talk about this game and play it for the first time, and they're like, I want to go back and relive those moments of playing it for the first time. And I'm doing the same thing with you, Ben, with Mass Effect, because
Nice.
I would love to be able to play that game for the first time again. And you're right, the first game is great. It's a pivotal part of the series, but I think the second and the third do feel a lot better. Not revolutionary, but there is, I think, just in the pacing and in certain areas it does pick up a little bit. But yeah, so I have almost exclusively been playing Deep Rock Galactic Survivor this week, which is a game we've talked about before. But again, a recap, this is like a vampire survivor type game in the Deep Rock Galactic world where you play as one of 4 mining dwarves who desperately need union representation and don't have it. And I think what I've kind of realized this week is that I understand why Vampire Survivors was such a hit the year it came out, because holy fuck, this game is addictive. And we talked a little bit about Hades the other week and that one more run thing, and you really get that with Deep Rock Survivor. The first like 10 hours or so that I played this game when it launched, which just a reminder, this is about $10, so everybody should be playing this game. I got the gunner, and that's just kind of what I stuck with. I went through the gunner for all the hazard level 1 missions, and I was just like, this is my favorite. But when I started playing this week, I was going through and getting the remainder of the hazard level 1 objectives and starting to do hazard level 2. And the nice thing about these objectives is a lot of them are class specific. So you actually have to use other classes. So um, I started using the driller quite a bit, and the driller is not even a class I played in Deep Rock Galactic. So this class is so cool. You get all these amazing beam weapons where they're pretty short range, but it just kind of surrounds you with an aura of death, whether it be fire or toxic or electricity or whatever. And like mining is just like an afterthought, because once you level up your mining speed a little bit, you're just plowing through all the rocks and stuff like that. But yeah, I've cleared through all of the hazard level 2 objectives, and I just started hazard level 3, and it really picks up the difficulty. So, but I'm still enjoying it. And if you haven't played since launch, I suggest you go back, because they have made quite a few updates. There are like these new loot monsters in the caves where like you'll attack them, they'll run away, but if you kill them, they're passive. They're like jewel bugs in the Dark Souls games. But if you kill them, they give you a really good buff. They now have new Dreadnought bosses that are twins. And they're a lot more interesting than the old Dreadnoughts, who were just these really big monsters who would dash at you every few frames. And they've even improved those old monsters a little bit, those old Dreadnoughts. So yeah, they've added some cool new stuff to the game, and I really like Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. It's a lot of fun. And again, $10, you can't go wrong. So
They just added some of that stuff this past week.
yeah. It's I didn't even know, like I was playing it and then I played it on Monday, and then I didn't see any of that stuff, and then I played it again on Wednesday, and I'm like, they've added stuff since I last played.
Yeah.
So it's cool when you get a game that's well supported. Again, it just came out, but
Right.
I'm really excited for Deep Rock Galactic Season 5, which comes out in June. And then shortly after that, we should be getting the roguelite Deep Rock Galactic Rogue Core. So a lot of cool Deep Rock stuff up on the horizon, and I'm quite happy for it. So yeah.
Nice. Deep Rock, I know that for me, before I ever played Deep Rock, I would see things about it, and I thought, it doesn't even remotely interest me. But when I get into a Deep Rock mood and I'm playing Deep, and I'm talking about Survivor or the original, but especially the original, there's nothing like it. Like, it's just, I mean, it does, I have to admit, scratch that scavenging itch in my brain that I like with survival games. It's not a survival game by any means, but it's just a really good loop. And I love the fact that the community is very friendly, and that the games are well supported, and the humor's on point. It's not too much to the point where it's corny like a lot of games, but there's just enough there to make you chuckle every now and then. So Deep Rock is a real treasure, and I think you can get Deep Rock and Deep Rock Survivor both on Steam for under $30 combined.
Yeah, 30, 40 maybe. Like 40
I don't even
max.
think 40. Yeah.
I don't think.
If you catch a sale, it's probably under 20, honestly. So, because we got Deep Rock, the base game, for like $10 on Steam, I want to say, and that was half off. I think so. Anyway, the point is, they're good games, and we all three love Deep Rock. So if any of the games we ever talk about loving on this show appeal to you, there's a good chance you might like it too. And this has been sponsored by Coffee Stand. No, I wish.
I also checked out which just launched today, X Defiant, a Ubisoft original.
Chill.
And
Mhm.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, Tim. I'm kidding.
Huge caveat here. I'm very casual when it comes to these games, as some of you may know when I've talked about Call of Duty in the past. I'm not, if you want to talk about skill-based matchmaking or any of the technical stuff, or I'm not that. I'm the guy who hops on, plays a few games. I'll stick with Call of Duty for like, I don't know, 3 weeks, and then I won't play it for 4 months. But the point is I always get this itch to jump into Call of Duty. And the question for me with X Defiant is, will it scratch that Call of Duty itch? Because X Defiant is free to play, and it does not require any subscriptions to play, regardless of which console you're playing on.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
So this could be big for me because
Yeah.
I've only played about 3 matches, and I just wanted to see if I wanted to play more, and I'm happy to say that I did enjoy the 3 matches I played today. It's very much like a Wish.com Call of Duty. It doesn't look very good, like, you know, when you get some of the close-ups of the characters in the post-match screens or whatever, it looks really flat and not very good. And I don't know if I needed a crossover with, you know, Ghost Recon characters and Splinter Cell and Far Cry and DedSec from Watch Dogs, all that kind of stuff. The cleaners from The Division are in it. I don't know if I needed that, and I don't really care about playing the characters, but at the end of the day, as a shooter, it feels pretty good to me, and I think I'm going to continue to play this. I will say that the battle pass seemed to, like, the leveling was pretty slow, and I was finishing fairly well in the matches that I played, but it's I don't know if it's going to be a little bit too grindy, or if it's going to push you towards like XP boosters, or, you know, when you buy a battle pass and it skips like 15 levels, so you're paying to not play the game. But just from a moment to moment gameplay, it felt really good, and the maps were interesting. And I actually got into a lobby with a streamer I watch. He's a Halo streamer, but I saw his name and I'm like, I know that name. And sure enough, I checked it and he was playing. So
That's dope.
yeah, X Defiant, it's again, just for it to be a free to play first person arena shooter with no subscription required, is it could replace Call of Duty for me, at least to some point, because as we talked about from the beginning of the show, you have to pay full price or get Game Pass. So yeah, this is I don't know. Are you guys gonna check it out? I know you played a little bit of the beta back in the day.
I may check it out. There's no barrier to entry, like you said, so it can't hurt to check it out. But the thing I found, and maybe this is way different because everybody's playing it right now, is the skill gap just seemed too high for me. I was getting destroyed.
So what I found, that I was scared of that, because again, even if you have a game with skill-based matchmaking in the first day or week or whatever, it's not really going to work because people
Right.
haven't got to the levels they need to. But I held my own today, and
Yeah.
I'm not good at these games, so maybe you'll be surprised, Ben.
Yeah. Brandon.
There is one barrier for entry. I have to open the Ubisoft launcher.
Ooh.
You don't on PlayStation.
I ain't playing it there, buddy.
That's it. That's the
Sorry.
show. That's all we got. We appreciate everybody for hanging out, whether you're here live or you're here on audio feeds or you're watching later, whatever the case is. We appreciate it. Don't forget, join us over on Patreon, patreon.com/handsomephantom, for as little as $1 a month. Make sure, even if you're a patron or not, whatever, if you're not a patron, all the old episodes of After Dark are out there for you. There's like 25 of them or so. If you are a patron and you've never listened to them, you're just here to support us, whatever, that's great. But check out After Dark. If you only want to listen to podcasts about video games, there's maybe only a couple episodes that'll appeal to you. So maybe don't check it out. But everybody else who just likes to laugh with people they feel like they know, you'll probably enjoy it. We don't talk about After Dark enough, but it's a fun show. It's literally just us hanging out and talking about goofy stuff. So you can also hang out with us on Discord, handsomephantom.com/Discord. We appreciate having you guys there. Boys, thanks for hanging. That's it for the show. Goodbye. All right. It's time for the dreaded show title discussion. And when I say dreaded, I mean dreaded by me. COD Pass.
COD Pass Ultimate.
Xbox COD Pass.
Fuck Fall. Or no, wait.
Fuck IGN.
yeah, just every every title of the show from now on is just going to be fuck IGN. It's going to be a nightmare to find which one you're trying to listen to. But
I'm actually just going to go into the entire back catalog at work and change all of our shows ever to that.
I do genuinely. The show's over, right?
I mean, we're still streaming.
Live. But the one
it's
thing
gonna be
about
on YouTube.
the IGN acquisition that kind of jumped out at me is I know there's a it feels like a special relationship between our friends on the other show and Push Square, and I wonder if that's going to change.
Our
I
friends
don't know
on
if I'm
the other
reading
show.
too much into that, but I don't know. Colin seems to quote Push Square
Oh,
quite a bit.
I think he just respects their journalism. I think he's friendly with a couple of them, but there's no like official relationship there. Or
Okay,
anything.
I wasn't
No.
sure if there was something there, but
Then a couple of their writers or people have been on. He's had them on before to talk about a variety of topics, but it's not a yeah. There's nothing official there,
right.
and I highly doubt they would say to a subsidiary that's not even fully owned by them, you can't communicate. But maybe, who knows? I doubt it. IGN, I mean, he talks to Pear, their lead guy there, pretty frequently. So
Right. Okay. Interesting stuff.
yep. All right, boys, we're gonna end stream, upload our files, get the hell out of here. Oh, why you should play says X Defiant not on Steam is yeah no.
I was thinking the
Are
same
you
thing.
one of those? I mean, I don't like that. I don't like having another launcher that I'm never going to use for any other games. But are you one of those anti separate launcher people? Because I can't stand that.
Dude, my thing is then I gotta log into an account that I never log into.
That's because you don't know any of your passwords and you refuse
And
to get a
then-
password manager.
And then it's gonna try and update me with a million fucking things that I have in there. I don't like it. I don't have a problem with it if it felt easier. But on PC, another launcher is not easier. It's more difficult.
It's only the first time you log into it.
That's the problem of it, Ben.
Brandon has spoken.
That's the problem
Brandon,
of it.
I have never, other than maybe my wife or my dad, so maybe there's 3 people in my life, including Brandon, that anytime they go to open anything they haven't accessed recently, they have to go in and reset their password every freaking single time. I'm like, Brandon, do you want to play a game? And he's like, sure. And I'm like, let's play on the Epic Game Store, this title that's featured there. And he's like, great. And it is 45 minutes before we can get a game going because he's got to not only remember how to get into Epic's store, which he can't, he's got to reset his password. Well, guess what? He also isn't logged into his email on this browser, so he's got to figure out his password for that. And guess what? In order to do that, he's got to get a text message to his parents' home phone. So, it's a whole thing.
That is too true. That is too true. You're right, Ben. That is me.
LastPass, $24 a year. Saved my life over the last decade so many times.
No, I like the struggle.
I know you do. Goodbye, everyone.